Hey, what's going on, internet? It's Khalif here, back for This Place Is Weird. I got another article to talk with you guys about today. This one's another one of those kind of sad ones. Illinois homeless man crushed to death inside garbage truck. Some blame cold weather. Let's go ahead and read through the article. An Illinois homeless man was accidentally crushed to death inside a garbage truck last week after he was believed to have been trying to keep warm inside a dumpster, according to local reports. Leroy Stewart was found dead Thursday at Waste Management Facility in Springfield, Fox, Illinois reported. Investigators believe Stewart was found in the dumpster when it was emptied into a garbage truck. Stewart, who was homeless, died of crushing injuries consistent with the equipment used to transport garbage. Springfield-based newspaper, the State Journal Register, reported, citing the Sangamon County coroner Jim Allman. Allman said that it was unclear whether Stewart was sleeping or disoriented. He confirmed that the 58-year-old was alive at the time and he was crushed, and said that foul play is not suspected. While investigators are still working to determine why Stewart could have been inside the dumpsters, advocates of the homeless say he may have been trying to keep warm during the cold weather or find a place to sleep. Quote, they find a spot where they're off the grid, Julie Benson, president of the Helping Homeless in Springfield, told the station. Quote, they can get comfortable where they're at. That's their home, unquote. Stewart is not believed to have been from the area, and authorities are seeking his family members following the accident. On Saturday, they were still looking for his family. On Saturday, Allman confirmed to some TV station that officials located Stewart's family, but did not elaborate. An arrest for Stewart in Clay County, Florida, showed he was previously charged with resisting an officer, according to the station. Okay. I'm not going to bother looking at the comments this time because they're not being very kind to this guy. I mean, it's a Fox website, and this guy's got face tattoos, so people are going straight to face tattoos is the reason why he's homeless, because he couldn't get a job because he's got all these fuck you signs, unemploy me, or don't employ me signs on his face and things of that sort, which I can understand where they're coming from. I still understand their perspective. I used to be, like, just a couple years ago, be a person that's like face tattoos is an automatic no for me. I wouldn't want to be close friends with anybody who's willing to get a face tattoo. But I mean, it's sometimes it's a counterculture thing. Like, people will get a face tattoo because it's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy thing. These sort of people aren't into the whole mainstream conformity society, the whole 9 to 5 sort of thing, and so they kind of some people will get the face tattoos to set themselves up. It's like, I don't want to be accepted by the sort of people that would not want to be around me because of the face tattoo. So they're like, just go ahead and cut out the middleman and get straight to it. So but besides that, I've been listening to a lot of prison storytellers, people that are prison YouTubers and things that sort of 1090 Jake of In the Sentence, 23 and 1, Lockdown 23 and 1. I've been listening to a lot of lawyers talk about these sorts of people, and I remember In the Sentence had a story where he was talking about somebody who was he was using someone as a case study who ended up going to jail for some petty offenses, or I forget if it was actually petty or if it was bad, but either way, they went to jail. They weren't necessarily the toughest, biggest person. Went into prison and got what they call, quote unquote, turned out. He was used as somebody's sexual pawn, and it triggered an entire identity transformation and things of that sort. And the dude ended up getting tattoos all over his face as a means to try to intimidate people so that they wouldn't be so callous in approaching him to do that again. And I imagine that it's something that they consider a bit of a self-defense mechanism out on the streets as well, because I mean, we all see face tattoos, and it's like we associate it with gang activity, things that are intimidating and things of that sort. But that doesn't necessarily mean the person that has face tattoos is actually someone that's willing and able to inflict the damage. But they may be someone like this guy who ended up going to prison over some petty stuff when he was younger, got into super bad situations in there, and ended up trying to get the face tattoos and some sort of messed up self-defense mechanism. So I've tried to get past the whole face tattoos thing, but I still 100% understand why people have such reservations about them, to the point to where they would dismiss the suffering of someone that chooses to do that to themselves, because coming from the mainstream society, there's no place for that. But anyways, the main point I wanted to talk about for this story is just it reminded me of this other story that happened just about this time last year, January and December, really bad for homeless people. Ended up, this guy froze to death in Montreal because I forget exactly what happened. I don't want to go through the story right now because it's getting off the point, but he was denied entry to a homeless shelter and was trying to avoid being caught out on the streets due to curfew. There was COVID restrictions in Montreal, and the man ended up freezing to death in a porta potty, which is one of the most inhumane ways I could figure to go. But there's a lot of people that have a lot of bad weather in cities with high homelessness. It always leads to I'm guessing it does lead to a high amount of illnesses, getting sick, pneumonia, stuff of that sort, but it will lead to death as well when people have nowhere to go. And I really wanted to just talk about how homeless shelters have for people that don't work with homeless people. My dad is homeless chair for the veterans of foreign war. He does a lot of stuff with like homeless events and stuff like that, where they go out and they'll actually give homeless people like backpacks full of supplies. They'll give people coats and boots and things of that sort, and so I always spending a lot of time talking to him about that stuff, and it's opened my eyes to a lot of the issues that plague these people, that the everyday person doesn't always take the time to care for, or they just don't even realize. Like a person that's just working their own 9 to 5 sees a homeless person out in front of the gas station or on the corner, and is always like, isn't there a shelter for you guys? Aren't there somewhere for you to go? You can get a job, all these sorts of things. And I don't know if everybody knows that it's not necessarily the easiest thing for a homeless person to get into a homeless shelter. Like, you might think it's like, well, they're homeless, it's a shelter, you just go in there, right? But not necessarily. I know plenty of people have seen homeless people that have like shopping carts. Maybe they found a shopping cart, or they took one from a grocery store, and they'll have a lot of their belongings and things of that sort in them. A lot of homeless shelters don't allow you to take those inside with you. They'll want you to just leave them out on the streets. And if you're a homeless person, that doesn't mean that you don't have things that you care for. You have maybe come across some things that hold sentimental value to you. Maybe it's like the last of your favorite things that you could manage to carry, and to tell someone, it's like, well, it's so simple, just leave your stuff out in the streets. Now sometimes they'll be like, nah, I'll try to find somewhere else. There are people that are drug dependent, dependent on some hard drugs, heroin, things of that sort. And these drug shelters don't allow people to come in and use, obviously, but they also, I think some of them do drug testing before they give up their beds and things of that sort. So that's another thing that makes it pretty difficult for people. And a lot of people, it's not the most popular thing to say. A lot of these homeless people would rather be out on the streets than in the structured environments of these homeless shelters, where lights out at a certain time. If you're a person that's if these ex convicts are coming out on the street and they are in these bad situations where they're homeless, I could understand from an autonomous point of view why you wouldn't want to go back to a place where it's lights out at a certain time. You can't open your own doors. You can't you all sorts of things. It's at a certain point, some people would just rather be out on their own. So it makes me sad, because anybody could look at this picture and be like, oh yeah, it's another drug ridden piece of crap. He's off the streets, he's gone. But never know what happened to this person. His history that ended him up in those circumstances, why he made the decisions he made. Maybe I've got too much of a heart, but I always try to look back and realize that every person was once a kid, And every kid has like those turning points in their life that turn them into the cold hardened adult that is always like they don't care about anyone else, just doing what they got to do to survive, etc. And I always just try to wonder what kind of person they were like before all those hard things of the world got to them. And it's upsetting. I remember when I was in a I had to go to a psychiatric hospital for a couple of weeks after I had a breakdown in college, and I met a few homeless people, and one of them was one of the sweetest people I've ever met. He taught me how to play card games. We talked about sports. We talked about a lot of the just general human things or whatever. Whenever we had lunch and dinner there, we would sit together and talk. We'd people watch and things of that sort. And I know that he told me that he was homeless because he and his dad had a falling out. His dad was financially looking out for him. I think he was on some sort of a disability that kept him from working, and his dad was helping him make ends meet to finish paying for the bills that his checks weren't paying for. And he had a falling out with his dad and ended up on the streets. And he wasn't a bad person. He had skills. He was personable. He was just in a tough situation, and just I hope that guy's okay. There's a lot of bad stuff that people do to homeless people, thinking no one cares for them out there, and this is it could be so far from the truth. I know this story. This isn't the article that says it, or I saw seeing it, but this person that froze to death was well liked in his community. People remember him being courteous. They remembered him being helpful to the other homeless people and things of that sort. So he was a person that he might not have been of quote unquote high class, but he had class. It's not just like homeless people are all homeless because they're trash people. I thought that was sad. The comments I saw down there, I'm not gonna give them more mind. I'm not gonna pay them any more mind, but I understand where they were coming from. It was just still disappointing to see people just be so quick to not care about the loss of human life just based off of mugshots. But anyways, that's I guess that's all I had to really say about that. It was kind of a sadder story. Wanted to touch on the issues of homelessness and how it's not so simple for everybody to just go find a shelter. They'll end up in these dire situations, hiding out in garbage cans and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it. So you guys got anything to say about that? Let me know. Comment section, wherever I post this, whatever comment section. It's a comment section on Facebook too, right? Whatever, you guys know. Take care of yourselves. Look out for everybody around you if you can. You gotta take care of yourself first. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Take care.
Yeah, someday we'll be together.